what does a 55 times return look like in European venture capital?
It was over $1 billion, way over $1 billion, and it was a 55x on the fund.
But here's the uncomfortable truth about making money in venture.
You know, the word founder-friendly is sometimes a little bit mistaken. Founder-friendly and you don't care about distribution, it's easy. But if you're looking for returns, it's getting harder.
So how does Capnamic consistently beat the odds? Jörg breaks it down to 4 simple principles.
The most important for me is the word of mouth from founders. Founder-centric processes to engage with the co-investors we like. Action over marketing.
Their investment threshold, nothing less than extraordinary.
We always think about at least 10x if we invest.
But what really sets them apart isn't just the numbers. It's a culture that balances relentless ambition with wisdom.
I try to achieve something in between. Michael Jordan, discipline, Yoda, balance.
And Jörg's final message to founders everywhere?
Go out and start good businesses and don't think every business will be capitalized by venture capital.
Discover the mindset behind Europe's exit of the year and why thinking like a champion might be exactly what your business needs.
Before we start the show, a quick note. If you're building or running a fund, you know it takes the right partners. At EUVC, we only work with sponsors we truly believe should be part of your tech stack. Please do take a moment to hear about them. And if you do, reach out, mention EUVC. It's the best way you can support what we do. Thank you so much. First up, ACE Alternatives. Every fund manager needs clean operations behind the scenes. From fund admin to tax and compliance, ACE handles it all across VC, PE, private debt, and real assets. They're trusted by some of the best investors in the world, and if you want peace of mind and a scale-ready back office, ACE should be part of your stack. Finding deals and managing your portfolio is at the heart of running a fund. Synaptic helps you discover startups before others do, and Portfolio IQ keeps your portfolio data sharp and ready for LPs. Together, they're essential tools for modern fund managers. When it comes to legal, you need a team that truly knows venture. Haynes Boone supports LPs, GPs, startups, and scale-ups across the full fund lifecycle. Smart managers make Haynes Boone part of their stack. We have 2 at EUVC. Tech Barbecue. Oh my God, who doesn't love barbecue? Europe's startup scene meets the loudest, friendliest family reunion ever at Tech Barbecue. From Nordic founders to global VCs, this is where ideas catch fire and relationships get real. If you're building or backing in Europe, Tech Barbecue is where you want to show up. And hey, if you've got a big fun announcement coming up, want to hit the headlines, or just want to tell your story out, do reach out to us because we'd love to help. And we've got some killer partners to help you get in the right media places. They've helped us land Bloomberg, CNBC, Financial Times, Forbes, and many more for the EUVC Summit, and we'd love to do the same for you.
This was their finest hour.
Tear down this wall.
It's more than just an alliance. This is a union of values.
Let's start acting.
This show is not investment advice, and the hosts of this episode may be invested in the funds and companies featured.
Jörg, welcome to the European VC podcast.
Hi, good to have you.
This episode has been almost 6 months underway because you won the exit of the year as part of the European VC Awards for the exit of LeanIX.
It's true, yeah. We've heard about it. We were very proud, but we couldn't make it to the ceremony. So because we had our own thing going on Mallorca, I think it was a golf tournament or something like that.
Yeah, something important like that.
Yeah, something like that. And we sent Nathalie, our prettiest and smartest girl on planet, and she took it.
You gave me the biggest heart attack on the day because we were just getting, like, everything was rolling. And then I was like, fuck, like we had started it and everything. And then it was like, where's Natalie? And I was like, is she not here? Then I called you up 20 times, but you had something going on, so I couldn't get a hold of you, couldn't get a hold of her, tried a bunch of different people. Then all of a sudden, there she was right in front of me, and no one noticed that we had Chris Wade, and I can't remember who, go on stage to kick it off together with Anubhav from or Michelle from Tactic, the sponsor of the award. We had them go on stage and start addressing the audience about how amazing it is that you've won, and I was still out there frantically calling you, trying to figure out where Natalie was. But we managed, and I don't think anyone noticed that we didn't have our ducks entirely in order there.
Yeah, to be honest, I saw the UK numbers on my cell phone, and I was thinking there's another placement agent trying to sell me something hardly. So I'm not answering. I'm not answering because then I'm in a sales call. I don't want that. I don't have time for that, and that's why I was not answering. But Natalie was prepared. She had everything in place, and she was very proud to hold the trophy and the thumbstone on stage. And now it's standing right in front of me in my office. I'm looking on it every day, so I'm not forgetting to find the next LeanIX.
I absolutely love it. And behind you, you have Michael Jordan, and on your left, you have Yoda. We cannot see Yoda. Tell me a little bit, because you said, I have these photos because they remind me of what I'm trying to achieve or who I want to be. Tell me a bit about that philosophy.
Yeah, this is a long story. It began when I was pretty young. So I played basketball, and my idol, my GOAT, was Michael Jordan because of his dynamics and his discipline, his eager to win, his willingness to win. And I was a big Star Wars fan, and I loved Yoda from day one because of his balanced, ethical, very wise character. And I try to achieve something in between with my work and with what I'm doing with the startups. So I tell them it's hard. It will be hard. You will miss a lot of shots before you make the shots, and keep on working, but always think about winning the market, winning the category, but be balanced. Have a culture in your team and play it wisely. Be on the good side, not on the bad side. Yeah. And that's somehow the story. And I look on them every day, so I'm not forgetting, because in these hectic days today, it's sometimes pretty tough.
I guess there's also a good point about Michael Jordan for a VC specifically, which is that on the game, he played basketball, but off the field, off the court, he was also a very savvy business person who made the famous Nike deal, allowing him to take a share of the shoe. That was basically the Michael Jordan shoe.
Yeah, I think it was his mother, which was really smart, but he took it, and today he's one of the most successful guys, because the Jordan brand now is not just a shoe. The Jordan brand is everywhere. It was at the Olympic Games in Paris, everywhere, and you have apparel, you have shoes.
Is it spun out of Nike today?
No, it's still part of it.
Nike,
but I think the most successful part of it as a sub-brand.
Yeah, I think so too. Incredible. Okay, just let's touch base on LeanIX just a second. Could you tell us just a little bit about what they did, what allowed them to be so massively successful? And also, I think maybe specifically, one of the reasons why we loved the exit and wanted it to be the exit of the year was that it really represented a very good example of a good exit in Europe, in that you got real money on the table. It wasn't a deal with other moving parts in it. So it was realized gains. And it wasn't, how should I put it, a huge IPO deal that has tons of people coming in, but it's one of those deals that some might want to overlook and say, well, it's not huge venture, but in fact, it's really, really solid returns for your LPs. And the multiple was incredible as well. I don't know if we can share the number, but maybe you'll say it. So it's like, for the fund, this is perfect. It's beautiful. Would it mean something for A16C? No, it would not. But for a European-sized fund, perfectly sized fund for the European market, it's a perfect deal.
Yeah, this is a story which starts early. So I was a tennis teacher when I was young, and the founder and CEO of LeanIX was my tennis student when he was 12 years old. That's the most funniest story about the deal. So I know this guy since his early days, and I always admired him because he was really disciplined, hardworking, not the most talented tennis guy, but he was very good because he was working so hard and understanding so much what everybody told him. And he was an intern in a venture firm I was working, and I tried to hire him for my first fund, but he decided to go to a consulting company. And then he came back to me, was it like, I would say 2014, maybe 2015, and told me that he starts a business with his former boss. so it was the consulting of DHL, a logistic group here in Germany.
Yeah.
And they started the business in the software branch, so a SaaS business, software architecture management. So I've seen this before. This category is not new, but it was kind of a legacy category, and it was not growing well. And I was, not quite sure if this is the right deal for us. I was sure that this is the right CEO and the right founder, but I had to understand that that was the right timing to get in this category again, because everything got digitized over the years, and the software landscape in the companies, in the enterprises, was a mess. And to understand what they were doing is a little bit like a comparison to Google Maps. So this solution was somehow Google Maps for the software landscape in an enterprise. And you had the chance to really overlook everything when you do like M&A and what kind of you adapt to your old stack, etc., etc. And nowadays, the business owners are looking on this, not just the architects, not just the software guys are looking on that, because it's getting more and more important what kind of solutions you have in your business. So the timing was perfect, because all these legacy players had old technology, old stacks, and we had built it on everything new on the planet. So it was faster, it was agile, it was really good looking, good dashboards. So the story from day one was, working. But my first exit potential analysis on this case was like, maybe we do 100 million, maybe we do something above, but it will be a 10x, because the entry valuation was so low. It was, I think, below 5 million. And the first check was like 500K plus 750 in a second milestone. So really, really cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, there were different times, but that was the beginning. And then they kept working hard. So they bootstrapped it for 2 years. And I think until they had like 20 million ARR, there were like 40 people. So really lean, really bootstrapped. And then we did a round with Insight. And then we stepped into the US, and then Goldman stepped into a little bit later. It got bigger and bigger. So we had like 80% of all the big enterprises in Europe, and like, I would say 30-40% of all enterprises in the US, which are the big enterprises, so the SMPs. Yeah, and at the end, it was like 800 people, over 100 million SaaS revenue AR.
Was it sold for 1.4 or so? Was it something like that?
I can't recall the number, but it was over a billion, way over a billion, and it was a 55x on the fund. I mean, we invested in every round.
By not joining you in the fund, he probably made you more money than he ever would had he joined you.
Absolutely. I mean, the funny story is he took one of my investment managers pretty early.
Yeah.
I think in year 2 or 3 of the business. So he stepped out at Capnamic and joined LeanIX. So he had a good visa package, and he still had some carried interest from Capnamic. Nice. So he made money on both sides.
Yeah, that's
when we did the exit. That's, I mean, everybody in our team has carried interest. So everybody was really happy about the deal because it was a big success in the fund. We already had 2 very good exits, so we have been in the money already before LeanIX. So it went really through everything here and
how do you think,
hit the roof.
Yeah, I must have. How do you think, Jörg, about carry? Just because we spoke about it now, you said everyone in the team has carry. I always find it interesting to just because we have so many partner level people listening in and trying to think about how they should build their own schemes. We also obviously have the rest of the teams that are trying to think about, are we fair? is what's happening inside our firm fair? How do you think about both the principle of everyone having carry? Is that only on the investment side, or everyone also on the comms and on the platform and CFO and so on? And also, how do you think about designing it? Is it tied to one fund generation? And then if you join after the first 3 years or the investment period of that fund, no new team member gets part of that carry? Or could you share just high level principles that you think, or you're still trying to crack a nut and come up with the most ideal thing?
So with us, everybody got carries. So not just the investment professionals, even though the platform people and the backup people, not as much as the investment professionals for sure, but everybody is in it because we, try to do something within entrepreneurship. So everybody should feel a little bit like an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's the way how we think. And we do it through fund vehicles. So if anybody joins in during the investment cycle, he gets some carried, but not as much as he would have started with the first fund or with the investment cycle. But there is a cliff. Yeah, there is a vesting, so it's tough. So they have to stick with us at least for 2 years before they get anything, and then it gets up. So I think it's pretty fair, and everybody likes it. But people are doing it differently in different funds. But my thinking is, I want everybody to work on a deal, not just as a backup, not just as a co-pilot. I want everybody thinking about the businesses. So I need to, somehow incentivize the people.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, but I just wanted to bring it up because I think it's always a topic that people are thinking about. We've just literally just published a research study we're doing together with Louis Lawrence from Plug and Play on exactly remuneration structures and so on in venture, which surprised me. We had 500 submissions from the from that email, so that made me happy. Now, okay, so Jörg, what I want to talk to you about really is I want to dive deep on Capnamic because you're one of the very successful funds that I think maybe people don't know as well as one might think they should, especially considering that you won the exit of the year last year, which is talk of the town. I everywhere I go, people says, "Are you guys the guys that with the Capnamic?" So for sure, we need to talk about Capnamic, and I want to dive into kind of try and figure out what's the edge of Capnamic, what's allowing you to be so incredibly successful as you've been to date. Are you ready for that?
Let's try.
Let's try. It's this comes completely unprepared for you. So to anyone listening in, do know that this is the first time I spring these questions on Jörg. Jörg, my first question to you is, I want to understand how you have, unique empathy for the people or the target sector that you have when it comes to founders. So what allows you to pick the best software founders and in your geo, in your vertical, where you're holding yourself up against all the competitors? What is it that allows you in Capnamic to be the team that runs away with the best founders?
Is a tough question. I think it's a good question, but it's tough. We just have money at the first sight. People think we just have money and can support with money, but I think it's much more than that. And this is the competitive edge. What you do besides the money or on top of the money, and what kind of expertise you bring to the table. So we are, as Michael Jordan was, very disciplined in our theses and what we do. So we concentrate on a deep regional expertise in DACH, so Germany, Austria, and Swiss. We really understand the local market, and our LP base and portfolio base helps us with this because we have a lot of people coming out of different sectors. We have a lot of serial entrepreneurs in our LP base. We have a lot of corporates in our LP base, which really helps on the first steps. And we try to sell that to the founders. And what we sell in addition to that is we facilitate cross-functional exchange through our portfolio, no matter if it's the first fund, second fund, third fund. We try to set up Slack groups or whatever workshops within topics. So not just the CEOs, not just the founders, the operational guys in the companies work together and exchange knowledge, which helps sometimes and leads to less failures maybe than in other cases. And then what happens is that people talk. So word of mouth from founders is decisive for us. We want to be bespoken as a very fair, a very hard investor, which really helps and is there in tough times and helps in expansion for good times. So this is what we're really aiming for. And I think everybody tells that story. So we are not very loud in the market. We try to have spokespeople out of our own organization that really talk very positive about us, network, LPs, founders. So this is our goal to try to have a competitive edge in some processes that are really competitive.
I'd love to explore the regional focus. You also have an inclination for B2B and SaaS, but you're also curious in other sectors. I'd love to explore and unpack that a little bit, where you're seeing, that focus to maybe, what's the edge case? Are there places where you're saying, yes, we'll do it if we meet them, but we rarely mean anything in super deep tech, or crypto is not our space, so like we just say no automatically, even though it's from Germany? How do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, as a venture capitalist, you're an opportunistic guy. So we always keep our eyes open for the best entrepreneurs. And if the best entrepreneurs we met are not in our core sectors, we still are eager to invest if we had our due diligence through partners and experts, et cetera, et cetera. So I would say the founder is coming first, the sector is coming second. I mean, we are very broad in sectors. So, I mean, for instance, we are now very, very active in climate tech since 1 or 2 years. So we have like fintech, we have SaaS businesses, we have robotics, we have industrial, we have almost everything in our portfolio. But there is a pattern in the companies from the stage, how they try to go to market, and what kind of founder DNA we have in the businesses. So this is more what we're looking in than just a thesis in a sector.
I want to ask you about founder DNA as well, and what you then look for. But I do want to ask you first, are you feeling in any way a squeeze from the rise of the specialists now that you are a generalist?
I would say it's more another co-pilot, another co-investor. We love co-investors. So this is a very important part for us for deal flow and exchange. And it's good to have experts. So I don't feel a squeeze. In climate, there are a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of climate funds.
Yeah, there are a lot of climate funds. So I don't know if they have enough deal flow for this kind of sector, if there are so many. I'm not sure about it, but I like the sector because we have to do something in that field to have venture capital in 20 years, 30 years from now. So let's focus on that. That's very important because nobody else will do it than the startups. The startups, they change the world. So it's good, but I'm not sure if the market or the opportunity for these many funds is big enough, or if you fund the wrong setups, maybe. But I'm not feeling squeezed at all. I'm not feeling squeezed. Not from prop tech, not from climate, not from sustainability in general. So I think it's a good way to work together. And everybody loves the general players because we help so much in expanding and go to the US and go to market and building up the organization, because we have seen it for so many years, and they can bring in the expertise in the sector. So that's pretty good.
Let me ask you about that founder DNA that you described, that this is what you're looking for. Could you be a bit more specific on the points that you're looking for? Is it just Michael Jordan and Yoda mix?
That's what, yeah, right there you go. We want boldness, but on the other hand, we want a balanced team. We want a balanced guy. We invest mostly in teams, not in single founders. But there's always one strong spokesman, which we try to understand in depth. I want expertise in the sector. I want experience. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a gut feeling. it's always a gut feeling. So you make your check marks on the questionnaires, and on paper he looks really good, and the pitch is really good, and you have seen everything. He was a consulting company, etc., etc. But at the end, it's like, okay, do I trust this guy that he will be transparent with me, whatever happens? And do I trust this guy to make a huge business, to really grow from nothing, because we invest really early, from nothing into something meaningful? And what is his way of thinking, and why is he starting this business? This is really important for us to really understand why. Is he in for the money? Is he in for the business? Is he in for the sector? Is he for what's going on? So it's the most critical question in our due diligence. So we work with some experts, some psychological people that really look into the people. So because it's so hard, everybody tries to be the best of him when he pitches. But is this the real guy? Is this the real girl? Is this the real founder? I need to see him when he is maybe a little bit buzzed. So I try to go out with them before I invest, and I try to give them something to drink and to talk to them to different topics, not just the business, to understand the way he thinks. Sometimes I'm really shocked, and sometimes I'm really there and say, this is a wonderful guy. I want to work with him. So, and this is mostly the timing when I decide, okay, let's do this.
Do you have some stories about where you've been so shocked that you walked away on the basis of one of those nights out?
Yeah. I have this, but I'm not sharing this, so because it's too personal. But I was shocked because he felt, and this is good, he felt like a brotherhood after some hours with me. I'm a social guy, so you can talk to me about everything, but still I'm an investor, and I want to make a business with him. So he needs, to be a little bit reluctant, right? So, and he was open up. It was clear to me that this guy has some problems, right? Yeah. So and he's a super cool dude, but he needs to solve the problems first, and then maybe start the business again. Most of the times, wonderful people, they behave, they don't drink too much. They say, stop, I'm not drinking anymore.
Would you say that if you had run a more standard process, meaning one that did not maybe involve going out with this person, would you say that do you think you would have uncovered this part of him?
I would not.
No.
Because in a meeting room, people are different. Yeah. I mean, in a podcast, I'm different than in the bar tonight.
So before, just so everyone knows, before we hit record, Jörg was very unpleasant. No, you're absolutely right. So now I want to then just to put in a comment. Everything you've said makes me super excited about the rest of this episode, because when I meet managers that say we're generalists, say that, well, I can smell it, I know, all that stuff, but don't give me a super, because there's some GPs that come to you and they're like, I've done fintech for 15 years. I talk to all these whatever people. This is exactly how the sector is going to move. These are the technologies, all that stuff, like the typical specialist sales talk. Then you can really understand, okay, there's something here, right? Whereas your description is one of those that always make me, okay, everything is contingent on the capacity of Jörg, and also then, and that's what we're going to uncover in the rest of this conversation, how you're building the firm to execute incredibly well, because you are not guarded by a lot of moats around that you do something that no one else does, so to say, right? You have competition from everywhere for the deals that you want to do. So the deal, the differentiation, the edge needs to come from something else than where you're focusing, and that you did X or Y or Z before. So I think that's super interesting to uncover, and that's what we're going to go into now. What I want to ask you then is I want to uncover a bit the reps you've done as Capnamic. So meaning both what you've done as a team so far within B2B and SaaS and Germany specifically, but also the processes, the activities that you're undertaking as Capnamic that allows you to become much better than anyone else in this space. So within the vertical and thesis that we've just described, what are the activities that are making you much better than anyone else every day?
I mean, at the end, everything is about track record. If you do fundraising as a VC, you got compared to everybody in the market. And so you have to show that you did something repeatable, which works out. And I think we can do this, as we have already in the first fund. We already have 3 unicorns, 2 of them already distributed fully, 1 already partially distributed. Still some other good assets in the books. In the second fund, we can clearly see the outliers and the ones who get over 10x. So in the third fund is pretty young, so it's too early to tell. But so I think the people can see that we made our reps, that we did it right. And to get there, everybody in the team learned a lot. So we have a lot of experience in the partnership. So we have my partner I started Capnamic with was at 3i. He started in '97 to invest in businesses. He did everything from IPO to trade sales and early stage, late stage growth, whatever. Olaf was with Target. He was an entrepreneur before, so he did a lot of good deals. And Christian now, who started as an analyst with us, is so smart, and he did already in our portfolio one of the best deals, Staff-based, which shows that everybody's learning from everybody here. So it's not about Jörg. It was maybe at the beginning. I started it. What I did is I tried to explain what the culture should be with any investment manager in the team. So I want everybody to involve with the founders. I want everybody to be not the best friend, but to be a reliable partner in the business for years. So we do hire people we know. So most of the investment team started as interns with Capnamic, worked as analysts, and worked their asses off to investment manager for years to really get the culture fit perfectly in the head. There were some starting businesses by themselves. We are invested. So we have 2 former investment managers they started businesses, one in HR tech and one in sustainability, rec tech, I would say. We invested in both because I know these guys. I really trust these guys. I like the businesses. They made the analysis. They did everything what we need to see. Other former investment professionals are in different funds because they got partners. Very good for us. The network gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So, but the DNA of the firm, not me, the DNA of the firm is decisive and is very, very important. And the young guns, they are so smart and they, dig so deep into the sectors and into the businesses. I never did this, to be honest. I was more like I like the entrepreneur. Please explain what you want to do. But now to have them at my side, it makes us better every day. And we try to exchange with our LP base. We have 85 executive LPs. They all started businesses. Some of them started several businesses. And we try to get them involved into the deal flow and into the portfolio work we do to get smarter every day. Because the most important thing I always tell the people here at Capnamic is never stop learning, never stop engaging, and never stop trying to understand the entrepreneur in a better way than yesterday. This is, I would say, somehow the secret. And everybody loves to work here. They tell me, I don't know, they tell me everybody loves to work here because everybody's free. I let them free. So the analysts or the investment managers are not working for me. They're working on a deal. There's a deal team of two people, and they work together on the deal absolutely on the same level, eye level. And that makes the people very happy and very engaging. So they're working hard, they're working long. And this is what the entrepreneur on the other side gets as a reaction. So he sees that and says, I don't understand it. They are my investors. They work harder than I do. And that's what they like. And then they engage, and then they talk positively about us in the market. And this is the flywheel then, which we really try to make work.
I took a bunch of notes while we were writing, or while you were talking here, Jörg, and I'm noting down two specific things. One is, I asked just before, and you said it as well, the reps. This is the difference, that this is what you need when you're a generalist firm. It's so competitive that there's no way I think you can pull that off unless you have a team that has a similar track record to yours. Obviously, you don't have to be on fund 3. You can be on fund 1. But the point that as you said, Christian, your partner, has done this since 97. He's been through everything from IPO to trade sale early to late stage and growth. That is just, I think it's so underestimated how hard it is to be a successful VC and how far you have to be in life, be that in years, but oftentimes you can't be so without also have some years under the belt. It's not a business for someone to spin out and do early in their career, I think, for most people.
I've learned a lot. I made a lot of mistakes. I started my career in 2000. So I was consulting a venture firm, and that was right after the new market. Everything was broken. So I saw it really from the other side, not from the top, more from the bottom, which helps me today. And then I started in 2005 with High Tech Gründerfonds, which is a public-private fund. And I had the chance to make mistakes because, and I learned a lot. And then I started do more venture. I had 5 years of investing. I had really quick wins with Lieferando and some other good cases. But I had to learn. When I started Capnamic, I was already 12 years in the business. Today, I see a lot of managers starting from zero because they had been entrepreneurs. They think they are good investors. I'm not convinced. Maybe sometimes, maybe you have these wonderful people that can do both, but I think you need a learning curve and you need some time to really understand, the deal making and how to nurture deals and, and how to exit deals, to find the right timing. It's really, really tough. It's not that investors are going golfing. I don't have time for that. I have a packed schedule. We have 54 companies in the portfolio right now, over 3 funds. So, 4 partners. It's a lot of work to do. So, but it's the best. For me, it's not working. It's like I get up in the morning and I'm looking forward. What will happen today? Because every day there is something coming up, and I have to find solutions together with my team, together with the entrepreneurs. Or our network, and that it's so much fun. It makes me happy every day. I can't imagine working in something else than venture capital.
Yeah,
never again.
I actually say exactly that going into venture, if you're talking partnership level, that is where you need to almost be able to draw a direct line through everything you've done in life into that venture, because otherwise it's too competitive. For you to be able to do well. It's too difficult. It's too damn difficult to do well.
Yeah,
it's not something you have a corporate career and then you think, I want to do this. It's not something you shift to like that. You said something else which I also want to double down on, which is you actually spoke about founder DNA before, but you spoke a lot about the DNA of Capnamic as well, the culture that you're setting, and you can hear that you have a very well thought out thesis, very well thought out system and way and focus on exactly this, which I think also goes to show when we're talking about exactly, because that's what I was exploring here, the reps you're doing. And you can't talk about culture like this unless you really care about it. And you can hear how much you care about it when I asked the question here. And then you said something which was the perfect segue to my next question, because what I wanted to explore a bit was your distribution flywheel, because you said this is the flywheel that we keep turning. When I ask you about distribution flywheel, I ask you about how do you ensure that everything you do inside your team allows you to get in front of the founders, the LPs, the co-investors that you need to be able to reach typically ventures is pretty small, low management fee system. So we typically don't have large resources to throw around with, which makes it all the more important that everything we do interlocks. So I'd love to ask you, how do you ensure that you get in front of the right founders at the right time?
I would say it's maybe four points. So the most important for me is the word of mouth from founders. If there is one founder talking bad about me, I'm out of the business. Because bad things make the round really quick. Good things take some time, right? So not everybody has heard about the exit of the year, but everybody will hear about me not behaving at the Christmas party, right? It's a week after. So I have to be careful what I'm doing, and I need a fan base within my portfolio. So I need to behave to my founders. I could be tough. I could be hard on them, because they have to work. They have to deliver distributions to me because this is the business. But I need to be fair, and I need to be really on their side. The word founder friendly is sometimes a little bit mistaken in our market, and we are really careful with that claim because it's a lot of work to be really founder friendly and make some money, right? So founder friendly, and you don't care about distributions or it's easy, but if you are looking for returns, it's getting harder. So this is the first bullet, I would say. The second one is you need founder-centric processes to get there. So you need to prioritize the founder's needs within your firm. Everything should somehow play out or play in with the founder. This attracts new entrepreneurs seeing that, because often you have good people in a funded business that start their own business. For instance, I had a really good talk yesterday from two founders out of Palantir starting a business. So they know how the investors in Palantir treated the founders. So they will talk to the right people then. Sometimes if I'm in board meetings and I see my colleagues from other funds behaving like shit, I'm thinking about, okay, I don't know if this guy will ever work with you again because of what he just saw, right? So you have to behave somehow. So this is the second one, founder-centric processes. And really important is a good reputation among co-investors because they talk, right? So everybody talks with everybody. If there is a good deal in town, the lead investor will think about who else should I work with? So we try to engage with the co-investors we like, and we like everybody. So it's a lot of co-investors, really in a very regular basis, and exchange about deal flow, about what's going on in the market, and invite the guys to good deals, not just to bad deals. Invite them, to our workshops, to our portfolio days, etc., etc. We need a lot of touch points with them. They are really important for us and for our flywheel. So co-investors, yeah. And at the end, I would summarize it as action over marketing. Just shouting out, it's easy, but do some actions. Notable, seeable actions you can refer to.
I think that makes a ton of sense. And all of them, I almost don't want to comment on them to not dilute them. So I think I'll almost leave it here. But just to restate, founder word of mouth, having founder-centric processes and really strong relationships to co-investors, really nurturing those relationships, and action over marketing. I love the final one. I actually want to shift to go way down in our script here because I would have wanted to ask you a lot more questions, but we've been talking and talking. So you've said a couple of times the importance of being able to generate DPI. And it's something that you're also amongst, I can say that was something that was spoken about amongst the judges in the judging panel, was that this is something you do very well. So I'd love to ask you to talk a bit about your philosophy or the processes, the principles that you live by to ensure that you generate DPI as often and as timely as possible.
I mean, this is the magic and we are not wizards, so we are hardworking people. I think strategy, discipline, and edge is decisive to get there. And you have to do this from day one because it needs time. I mean, we are in the early stage business, so distribution is between, I would say, 8 to 12 years after we invested. So it's a long time. Still, if it's seeable and you can distribute maybe a little bit out of secondaries a little bit earlier for our fund strategy, it makes sense. We would never distribute everything through secondaries. We always, try to get something of the big cake, but sometimes we do this. And what I mean with that is we always think about at least 10x if we invest. So if we have the exit potential of 10x, maybe it's too less. If they make a 10x, I'm more than happy. But in the analysis, when we invest in, market sizing and competitive landscape, we try to see more than 10x. We always define it as an fund returner, and depending on the fund, it's way more than 10x. Yeah, the first fund was 40 million, so it was pretty easy. That's why the 100 million exit potential for LeanIX in the first phase was enough. It was then 10x of 10x, so it was then over $1 billion. Which is great, but it was not necessary for the success of the fund because we already have been in the money before we had the LeanIX exit. So it's about, okay, and then you need to get them over the goal line. So it's good to have an analysis about 20x, but the businesses have to be robust enough that I would say 25% have really the chance to get there. You always have some really bets when you make a bet on a tech or on a market where you can't tell that it really, that it is really going to happen. But this is what we're trying to do in our analysis before we invest. Yeah, and this is the toughest. So we always have the most discussions around these kind of analysis in the team because naturally, we see it differently sometimes. And so we have to have a conviction on that together because we do everything together here. So if there's one guy really doubting that they will get there, we probably will not make it.
Yeah, so that is definitely something we could also talk a bit about because it's one of those continued discussions. Do you want to do things by unanimity or do you want to say, well, we need one big champion. If that champion is in, that person can run with it. But let's get into that after. So I just want to ask you a bit about that portfolio modeling, portfolio construction part, which I think is so interesting and something that I think is maybe a bit less well discussed openly, which is what you said with, well, you want 25% of the portfolio to have a pretty good path to becoming a fund returner, to creating that 10x. And then you said, and then you can also have a couple that are like the really big swings that either they go to zero or they go to $1 billion or 10 billion. But you can't have a implied, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're also saying, but you can't have a full portfolio where you're saying all the 30 bets we do have this characteristic of, well, either they go to $1 billion or they go to zero. No. Tell me a bit about
Not
that.
for us. You can do this. I mean, the math will probably be fine. If the reality will be fine, I don't know, because, sample size, taking sample size, like, I don't know how many deals will be started in a year, 10,000, and you take 10 bets or 15 bets, still all the bets can go wrong. So I told you, I'm more the guy coming from the bottom, so really conservative on estimations, not dreaming, but I love these bets, and so LeanIX was not such a bet, and it was a more than fund returner.
Yeah.
I think 3 times fund returner, more than 3 times fund returner. Yeah. We sold it to Ablovin, and then Ablovin went IPO. It was $1 billion. It was not an absolutely bet, and staff base not a bet. Yeah. We had some bets; they all got bust in the first one. So,
but you
at the
want
end-
to take them, right? You want to take them.
I
This is
want to
venture.
take the bets
You-
because
you
if
wanna-
you have one of these bets like Chelonis or UiPath, your fund is fucking amazing, great.
You wanna
And
have a
I see
shot
this
at that,
happening.
yeah.
I see this happening. Yeah.
I'm so thankful that we just had that conversation, and because I think it's one of the things that we just talk a bit too little about, that it isn't just about taking the very big swings. And I think we talk more about it in Europe. It's more okay, so to say. It's more a European strategy than it's a US strategy. What we tend to see is also, I think, valuations being a bit more conservative, controlled here in Europe, closer to reality, which means that there's fewer opportunities to sell massive outliers on huge valuations that are unfounded in anything, but just doing it in secondaries because you have all the huge funds coming in after you. I think there's something to that, which I don't think that's not a play that works too well in Europe.
I would not rely on that. It happens from time to time, but I would not rely on that. So we don't have this in our fund model. It's opportunistic. So if there is something like an existing investor says he wants to have more shares and the valuation is fine, then we do that.
I've heard great
Usually.
LPs say that as well. When they look at the portfolio model, what they want to see is that there's a good, clear path to 3x, that it works without those massive, huge outliers.
Right.
And if you then get them, amazing.
So this is what we plan, right? 2.8 to 3.5x.
Yeah.
Without massive outliers, but with some very good cases, you need them. And then if like in fund one, you have like 3 outliers, you get like maybe to 10x, right? So everybody's happy. We did some SPVs for the good ones because the fund was so small. So LeanIX, we had a very good SPV in the inside round. So I think the investors on the SPV, they made over 10x within 3 years. So
that's
something
pretty
like that.
beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, so we're up on time, almost 3 minutes left. So for that reason, instead of digging deeper on the unanimity versus consensus, or however we should describe that, I want to ask you parting words from a great investor with great achievements under his belt. What do you want to say to the audience?
First of all, I would say I'm not a great investor. I'm a hardworking investor, and I'm a founder-friendly investor. And I want to tell the people, go out and start good businesses, and don't think every business will be capitalized by venture capital. There are lots of businesses without venture capital which are beautiful. Think about your model and think about who you talk to, and take your calls wisely, like Yoda would do, and be as tough and hardworking as Michael Jordan would be.
I love that. Amazing. Incredible. Jörg, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. And thank you again for bringing another great contribution to the European VC scene.
Thank you very much. That was fun.
Before we start the show, a quick note. If you're building or running a fund, you know it takes the right partners. At EUVC, we only work with sponsors we truly believe should be part of your tech stack. Please do take a moment to hear about them. And if you do, reach out, mention EUVC. It's the best way you can support what we do. Thank you so much. First up, Ace Alternatives. Every fund manager needs clean operations behind the scenes. From fund admin to tax and compliance, Ace handles it all across VC, PE, private debt, and real assets. They're trusted by some of the best investors in the world, and if you want peace of mind and a scale-ready back office, Ace should be part of your stack. Finding deals and managing your portfolio is at the heart of running a fund. Synaptic helps you discover startups before others do, and Portfolio IQ keeps your portfolio data sharp and ready for LPs. Together, they're essential tools for modern fund managers. When it comes to legal, you need a team that truly knows venture. Haynes Boone supports LPs, GPs, startups, and scale-ups across the full fund lifecycle. Smart managers make Haynes Boone part of their stack. We have two at EUVC. Tech Barbecue. Oh my God, who doesn't love barbecue? Europe's startup scene meets the loudest, friendliest family reunion ever at Tech Barbecue. From Nordic founders to global VCs, this is where ideas catch fire and relationships get real. If you're building or backing in Europe, Tech Barbecue is where you want to show up. And hey, if you've got a big fun announcement coming up, want to hit the headlines, or just want to tell your story out, do reach out to us because we'd love to help. And we've got some killer partners to help you get in the right media places. They've helped us land Bloomberg, CNBC, Financial Times, Forbes, and many more for the EUVC Summit. And we'd love to do the same for you.
This was their finest hour.
Tear down this wall.
It's more than just an alliance. This is a union of values.
Let's start acting.